Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Another online auction today. We are outside of Reedsburg. Reedsburg? Yeah, Reedsburg, Wisconsin. Scony town. And we are at the Jim Worth estate auction. The auction is over. We didn't get a chance to preview it because it's like 7-ish hours away from me. Anyway, huge collector. A lot of 58 Chevys, some 59 Cadillacs, some 33-4 Ford stuff. Just, I mean, Mr. Worth had an eye for the right stuff. So I got a 33-4 Ford chassis with a Buick nailhead in it and a 3-speed in it and a GM rear end, and then some other rear ends, a 37 Catalyst style transmission, a 34 Ford radiator, which I think is for the Buick, and a couple other odds and ends. So let's get our stuff loaded up and then maybe take a look at all the other stuff. I don't know the selling prices on a lot of this stuff because it doesn't show it at the end of the auction. That's just the way these guys had it set up, which is kind of unfortunate. But I had some friends bidding on the 58s and they went for good money. There was a 58, just a bench seat for an Impala 2-door, and it went for over $1,000, which, and then one of the cars was at like $1,800. I think the convertibles went for like 30 grand. So let's get this thing loaded up, get back on the road. All right, chassis strapped down. Here's some of the other stuff. Oh, Rocky. I don't know if he was on the auction. There's a 4850 F1. That wasn't on the auction. 59 CAD convertible. Hardtop. I think this is a tri-power car. 4-door hardtop, 59 CAD. This was the other Ford chassis. Went for a little bit more money. But it came with a radiator, fender brackets. It's already got juice brakes. Flathead with dual carbs, 3-speed, fuel tank, 35 wires, and then 35 3-window. The Roadster wasn't on the auction. 60, I think it's a 6 Super Sport. 58 Plymouth, kind of a red version of Christine. Last I saw this was at about 18 grand. This F1 was on there. The 42 Ford was on there. This was pretty reasonable, but it shot up at the end. And then a 2-door Merc, pretty decent car, but the roof's kind of bashed in the hood too. Same deal, another Merc that's chopped. This one was neat because it's got a W block with 3 carbs. But again, I don't know if the building came down on it or what, but this one's chopped. A really cool car. We bid on this one right off the bat. Shaved door handles. Looks like she's a 4-speed or a 3. Super cool car, but it's unfortunate the roof got bashed in. 59 El Camino, small block. Last I saw this was like 21. And then here's a 2-door hardtop 58 with a W block. Convertible 58. Another convert 58, 36 3-window. This looked like a pretty nice car. Needs interior yet. And then another 58 2-door hardtop. This is a 6-cylinder car. And then some small blocks and power glides and Ford engine, W motor, a lot of cool stuff. You got a 35.6 Ford rear end loaded up. There's another Banjo here. This is later, like 37. It's got juice brakes, so it's got to be 39 and newer. 5 on 5.5 bolt pattern, so it's got to be a 40 to 48. There's a couple of these Muncies. One of them brought like $750. That one looks cast iron, so probably a Saginaw. Turbo 400. There's a Ford 8-inch. Looks like a couple 8 inches. And then I believe that's a Mopar rear. Power glide over here. Ford something. 50 Merc overdrive. That went pretty reasonable, I thought. 12-volt Chevy from the 65 Super Sport. That had a Muncie in it and a W block. That went for pretty good money. I don't know if that's a Mopar or GM rear in there. Sub out of something. Oh, there's the 12-volt. 336. The old Lincoln Continental. Pretty clean car. This 58 orange 2-door is pretty dang nice too. First place to look on these is the eyebrows. It seems like where they always get it. This one, you can see it's been patched together up here. Another 2-door hardtop. Interiors are in all these, even the glass. Here you can see just how bad they get it. This white car would make a good tribute to American graffiti. I think they said this one brought like 37,000. Convertible. You can see just how shelled out it is. Spare diff, spare brakes, all the good stuff. But she's an Impala convertible. We got a bunch of Ford transmissions, early Fords, 37 Cad LaSalle, and I think that's a Mopar right there. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a Ford. It was reasonable. Paid like $200 for it, and I figured the shifter's worth half of that, and it's a 4-speed. Super nice people there. The auction people were super helpful and loaded, super quick in and out. Great experience with the local auctioneers. We're gonna head over to the auction yard now, and Gavin Brothers, who it is, served in the area since, I think it said like 1942. And a lot of the smalls are over there. We got a radiator and some hubcaps, my favorite 68 Chevy hubcaps. And then I believe it's the radiator for this car. Talked to the family. His stepson said he's keeping a 71 Corvette and then that blue 48 to 50 Ford pickup he's keeping. And the 35 Roadster actually was on the auction. He said it didn't bring 30 at him. He wasn't sure what it brought. So anyway, yeah, the family members each kept a car or two. So it sounds like Jim was a over-the-road truck driver, and that's kind of how he found a lot of this stuff. And he was a van body driver, so his stepson said when he would bring stuff home, he remembers climbing in the back of the van body because he was the only one skinny enough, small enough to fit between the van body wall and the car to get in and steer the cars out. He says, yeah, you remember he brought 2 of those 59 Cadillacs home. The 58 Plymouth, I guess Jim went to school at Arizona State University and drove it back and forth, and I guess many times the transmission went out. So he would swap the transmission on the side of the road, and I guess there was spare transmissions in the trunk of that car to prove it. The roofs on the Mercuries was because he had an old building, a garage or a dealership in town that his dad had run at one point, and they'd leased it out. When that guy's lease was over, then Jim was storing cars in there anyway. As is common in this area, the roof collapsed due to snow load, and that's what got the roofs on the Mercuries. And he thinks that's what happened to the bodies. He thinks this had a 3-window coupe body on it, unfortunately, but he sold the body, he didn't scrap it, and that's why there was a lot of like 34 Ford inner fenders. There was a door, a bunch of grills. I mean, he had a pile, I'm sure we'll see when we get up here, just a pile of 33, 4, 5, 6 Ford grills. Had a really good eye for stuff. He said at one point they had like 55 cars, and he'd thinned it out to about these 25. Towards the end, when that building collapsed, him and his stepson put this building up out of that's his stepson's farm, and they put a lot of the stuff inside and gave him a lifetime lease or whatever. And you know, now it's time to part with a lot of the stuff, and a couple that the family are keeping. So it's really cool to find this stuff out. You know, I always wonder, like, you know, I'm like, how did your dad find this stuff? How did he come across it? How did he get it home? You know, any particular reason why he liked, you know, 58 Chevys or whatever. I guess there was a 348 or 409, probably a 409, a 4-speed, and the 12-volt came out of a 65 Super Sport that was another one of his kids. The roof came down on that car. The car wasn't worth saving, so that's why the transmission, rear end, and the engine were there. He saved all those. So Jim was pretty good about saving that stuff. Like I said, he knew what stuff to bring home and what stuff to save. It's unfortunate that that roof came down, but I'm guessing a lot of these cars are going to get, you know, fixed up. But I better figure out where I'm going on the golf course road here to find the auction place. So we'll check back when we get there. I don't know what you guys do this in Wisconsin. All these trees everywhere and ravines and hills. I don't know, curves in the road. This is just, this ain't like me, but they are getting the crop in the ground. All right, I'm gonna have to fire up the address machine. Old GPS time. All right, here we are, the Gavin Brothers auction facility. We're gonna pick up our hubcaps and a rad meter and maybe give ourselves a tour and see what else they had. Looks like they got a bunch of farm equipment. I think those are for hauling the poo.
Is it done? How much is in there? I got the poo on me.
they had music playing over there and can't have that. So anyway, so get over here. Bunch of 58 headlight bezels and grills, hubcaps. A bunch of these big old Pontiac and Cadillac signs. More hubcaps. I think these are 34 taillight stanchions. Old Southwind gas heater. Ford hubcaps, turbo 350 tranny pan. 35.6 Ford dash. V8 hubcaps. So what's that? 35 and older Ford. Tri-power intake. There was a dual flathead intake as well. Somebody already picked that up. More 58 trim. This goes on the roof on a 58. Rear seat on a 58. Seats. 36 to 39 Ford hubcaps. I think that's a Merc dash. Now you can see how much stuff's already been picked up. I'm guessing this is the console out of that 65 Super Sport. Some early Ford headlights. Again, I think those are 33 or 34 hubcaps. More headlights. Super Sport console, 4-speed. 33 for fender braces, 33 for fuel tank. I was bidding on that. I think that went for right around $100. That's a radiator. Well, another 33.4 radiator for a flathead. 58 bumpers. I think this is an Impala tilt column, 65 or 6. Some mirrors. Yeah, this was all covered. I think somebody must have came and bought a lot of the 33.4 stuff because there was a ton of 33.4 trim pieces like that, inner fenders, fenders. Just rows of grills. Some pretty nice 36 grills, a really nice 35 grill, 34, 34, 34, and there's a 33. 33's got this oval hole. 34 is kind of grill shaped. It looks like the same shape as the grill, or heart shaped, whatever you're gonna call it. And then 33 curves down at the end. 34s are straight. Yeah, this one's got a couple dingers in it. This one is really nice. A lot of these went for like $1,500, $2,000 or higher. Some really cool 348 409 Offenhauser valve covers, and then some factory chrome ones. That was probably the fan for my car. Oh well, we'll find a new one. That was probably the steering for my car. Oh, 35. Nope. Window garnishings. Yeah, this stuff's been hauled out. 4-bar front end kit. Another 4-speed Super Sport console. Dang. 58 to 60 Impala wheel. I think that's 57. I think he said there was a Nomad and a coupe in that building that collapsed too, unfortunately. Roadster windshield. Oh man, look at that brand new flexi hoses. What a deal. Looks like a Mustang floor shifter. Oh, yellow plug wires. This is definitely the pallet I should have bought. Used fuel pumps, some carb kits, water pumps, master cylinder and pedal for something. Some horns. That's I think there was a bunch of Ford 94 carbs and a Holly or Stromberg 97s and some other pallets. This is a crossover starter for like, I think an Olds. Well, it's GM right there, so maybe it's Olds, Pontiac, Buick, something with a starter mount on the inspection cover. Clutches, generators, starters. Should have bought that one for sure. Some early Ford brakes. Some more 58 trim, 59 or Cadillac hubcaps anyway. F1 gauge cluster. So there's some of the 34 inner fenders. And the old Krager Breaker 1000 tire machine. Gosh, she's thinning out. Folks is loading up. Well, it's got juice brakes. So that's a 37, well, 39 to 41. It's got the round back spindles. Pretty much all that's good there is a spindle. Some 35 Ford 16-inch wire wheels. Volkswagen wide 5 and some Ford wide 5s. There's a pile of these wide 5 wheels. A couple pallets are gone already. More wide 5 wheels. Just a ton of brake drums. Who knows if any are good though. Some steel chrome slots. There's these brand new 5 spokes. I think they had about $200, which probably ain't a bad deal, but where are you gonna find some matching ones? Superiors. That's what the S is for. It's kind of cool that he still got the box. Bumper jacks. All kinds of mystery wheels. Some chrome reverses. More chrome slots. More steelies. These are cool. Chrome reverses. You can see they spun them around and they got that deep dish on there. Tires are shot. Oh, portal walls even. Nice. I'm not going to peel it up because they're a little brittle. You can tell by the way that it is.
This is an aspen. You can tell that it's an aspen tree because of the way it is.
Stack of radiators. I assume that one for scrap. That's for a flathead. F1 probably. Mopar grill. 64.5. 35 6 fenders. Pretty rusty. And then here's some bumpers. Here's a Continental kit for a 58. Last I saw this was like 1,700 bucks. Some cool pinstriping on that 65 6 Valance. 33 door. Last I saw that was at like 400 bucks. A couple of the old Sun motor testers. There's a few gas pumps too. This looks like the only one left. Guessing that's that 65 6 door. Bucket seats from the same car. There's that 58 seat that I saw was at $1,000. I guess they said they are going to post the prices later, so if we get to the point where we haven't edited this video yet and the prices are out, we'll try to put some of that stuff down below if it's not too much work for old Mr. C. Another bucket seat. Again, I think that's 65 and newer, but maybe it's earlier. I don't know. Looks like about it. That's a cool base. Property of the Pennzoil Company. Apparently not anymore. Somebody else bought it. That's a pretty good 58 seat. Guy needed one. $1,000 for a seat. What's this world come to? Plus everything here had a 10% buyer's premium. And you have to load it out on a Friday. So you had to take some time off from work to come get it, like me. Unless you're unemployed or retired or self-employed. And, well, even if you're self-employed, you gotta take time from work. And what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, plus you had to pay tax on it. Great. So, expensive trip we got here. I did talk to some other guys, some local guys in there. I said, oh, you came from North Dakota? I said, yeah, got that frame. And I guess there was a 5 window on it. I guess this guy didn't like 5 windows, so we think the building came on it and then he sold the body, but it was a 3 or 4 or 5 window coupe. And I guess that's where a lot of the grills came from. He sold the bodies off those 2 chassis and yeah, that's what's left. All right, I might strap that rear end down and we're gonna call it a day. Met a nice gentleman who watches the channel, so talked to him for a little bit. He's talking about his Ford F1 project. He's picking up, I think he got the 42 Ford. He's picking it up for his boss. Anyway, we got about 7.5-ish hours on the road. We're gonna head home and I guess we'll have to check out this stuff when we get there. Hopefully we don't find any more junk to buy. Just kidding, we're definitely not. We're setting the cruise control. And getting the heck out of Scottyville / Blue Plater, Minnesota. And going home. See ya when we get there. Duff's waiting for me, I'm sure. Duff, you're all muddy. Should we show them our auction purchases? So here is the 33 4-frame. We'll have to run the VIN to see which it is. That's the only way that I know how to tell the difference between a 33 and a 34. There's probably some small differences, but I believe it's a GM. Open drive differential. I'm guessing if we found a, oh yeah, sure enough, there's a GM right there. And the bolt pattern looks like it's 4 3/4. So I would assume that's like a Tri-5 rear end, or well, a 55 to 64 probably. So, you know, out of that car or that car, most likely. These are 35 or 6 Ford wishbones. They bolt on if you weld the bracket on there. A lot of guys like these because that way you can use whatever driveline you want. These cars had an enclosed drive shaft. I'll show you a rear end like that. But anyway, those wishbones have to be split. Otherwise, they usually would tie to the torque tube, which is part of the drive shaft. So those have been split. Looks like they did it the old-fashioned way. And they've got a tie rod end that screws in there. So that's pretty common. They would just take a Ford tie rod, cut it off, and sleeve it right in there so they're adjustable. And then they weld these brackets on the frame, which are a little crude, but not too bad. Yeah, did a decent job, even detailed it, you know, painted them up white. Looks like they cut out the X member to put dual exhaust through there. Leaves a little bit to be desired on brake line routing, but it is what it is. And then I think 33 and 4 springs have a curve to them. And so since they don't have the curved spring, I'm guessing they use like a 35 to 40 spring. They had to cut out this cross member, so we'll have to fix that up if we put her back on the road. It is pretty cool because it's got reversed wheels. And what reversed is they usually take these, I believe these are Buick hoops, and then they'll take Chevrolet centers out, and then they'll take the Buick hoop, spin it around backwards, so you can see the valve stem is right there on the inside. So real pain to check the air pressure, but it gives you that nice offset deep dish look for cheap. So that's pretty trick. I wish I would have bought the fuel tank for this thing and bought a bunch of the stack of drive shafts, so I had the drive shaft, but we can make all that stuff. I'm guessing these wheels weren't on the car when they parked it. Well, maybe these are from the 60s or 70s. I'm not sure when this 5 window got parked and the roof collapsed on it, or if the roof collapsed or when he sold the body, but I'm guessing they put this thing together in the 60s, maybe ran it around in the 70s, who knows. Based on the information that I heard from some of the other buyers that were there, local folk. Continuing onward, this is a GM 3-speed. I'm guessing it's a 3-speed out of same deal, like a 55 to 64 Chevy car. It's got some type of aluminum adapter, aftermarket adapter here. And this is mainly what I was going after, because to get a nail head, flywheel, and clutch in this adapter is, you know, a pretty good chunk of change. So this would have been a column shifted 3-speed, so it's got this aftermarket shifter that they kind of fabric cobbled to make work. Looks like they tried welding it to the I don't know. Oh, this transmission would have never had a mount. It would have had mounts on the bell housing. So they kind of grafted their own mount on here very, very crudely. And they butchered up the X member pretty crudely, and then made their clutch linkage again very crudely. Fuel lines, brake lines. Oh my gosh, that line was just hanging there. Rode 400 miles home. What a deal. And they cut up the cross member for the shift rods to go through. There's some cleaning up to be done there. And then these Buicks have the starter on the driver's side, so your steering comes through here. So they cut out the frame for the steering and then put a plate on the bottom and gusseted here. It's really, really crude. So we got to patch that up a bit too. And then hopefully this nail head is good. It decodes as a 1961 Buick 401. They got some pretty crude engine mounts, but they're actually pretty sound, it looks like. It's not going anywhere. Front wishbones are not split. Looks like we're gonna need a carburetor. I don't know why the spark plug wires are off. I'm hoping it's because they took the plugs out and oiled it. I have not seen if it'll turn over. Had this hitch on it, which fits really well, but I don't think it was for this car. I was thinking that'd be cool if it was an old drag car, but I doubt it. It looks like an aftermarket axle, but I think it's actually a very well dropped original axle. Still using the stock spindles, the 34 spindles. You can see they got those pivots up there, and then it had the stock style steering arms, all that stuff. And then they modified the steering arms to clear the wishbone and stuff like that. These things always crack out around the cross member, so it's been patched in there, but they did a pretty nice job of that actually. I don't suppose I can turn this with my hand. Yeah, right. Now we're gonna have to put a wrench on it. Water pump's free. We're missing the alternator and brackets, but that should be easy enough to acquire or to build. It's kind of neat how they painted a bunch of this stuff white and red. They even painted the insert in the axle blue, and then the axle blue, and then it's got juice brakes on it. So there's a lot of ways to put brakes on, but it looks, usually guys will put like 37 to 41 spindles, but then you got to go to a cross steer, which I think is what we'll probably end up doing long run, just to hopefully alleviate that steering issue. Either use a 40 Ford box or try to go to a Vega cross steer box. Otherwise, a nice upgrade is to go to like F1 or F100 steering columns or steering boxes, and then we'll keep the same steering geometry. So we'll see when we get to that point. But in another video, we'll see if we can get this thing running. But yeah, again, these front wheels are reversed, and then they got some baby moons on there. We got a little bit of everything in this auction, didn't we, Duff? So we got this Mopar transmission. I didn't know what it was, but I have verified. It is a 64 or 5 A833, which is a dang robust transmission. They got this, I don't know, it's a goofy shape to me, but that's kind of the dead giveaway. That's a Mopar. The shape of this cover, you can tell it's a 4-speed because it's got 3 levers. If it's only got 2 levers, it's a 3-speed. And by the way that the shape is here for the bolt pattern on the front, I'm guessing there's some date codes on it somewhere, but it's a 64 or 65, the Mopar Madman tells me, because it's got the trunnion yoke on the rear as opposed to a standard slip yoke. So that brings the value down a little bit. There's several different tail housings depending on where the shifter is. It's got a Hirsch competition shifter on it, so I figured that right there is where the $100. I gave like $220 or $230 for this one as well. He thinks I didn't do so hot on that one, but it's a 4-speed and it'll fit behind one of my early Hemis, or maybe we can barter it for something else. Who knows? I figure with the shifter and everything, that's a pretty dang good deal. Like I said, the trunnion yoke is the downfall of that one, right, Duff? But we're learning. Picked up this radiator that is for that Buick, I believe, because it should have 2 water necks, top and bottom. They've been either capped off, or this is an aftermarket. It's in really good shape. I gave a little over $100 for it. It's got the stock spot for the radiator cap, but it's got a full pressure system. So these weren't originally pressurized. This is pressurized, so that's pretty good. There's some crude mounts welded on up there for the bracketry, but it's in really good shape, and we should be able to make it work with that GM engine. We got a pile of early Ford transmissions. I think these are like 33 Ford transmissions. The nice thing about these is they got some VIN numbers on here, so you can decode what year they're from. It should start with a 1.8 being a V8 car, and then it'll be a dash and then the VIN number. But I think the 33 and 34s, or maybe even the 35s, I'm not sure, are the ones that have this angled shift tower. They're not straight vertical. This is for a torque tube style transmission. Same deal with this one, same thing. Doesn't look like there's any guts, but there's some pieces here, the shift fork, shift tower, so on and so forth. And then this is a later one, so it's gonna have synchronized gears in it, and this is out of a pickup because it's got the regular drive shaft instead of an enclosed drive shaft. So there's some good pieces there. And then the guts are correct to put, like, if you found a 39 top cover, well, this should have had a 39 top cover. They're a little bit different for the synchronized one, so unfortunately we didn't get that. Also on that pallet, there was some type of bell housing adapter. I think it's for like a power glide, probably out of a 58 Chevy, and a couple flywheels, again, small block or flathead. Not too excited about those. And then another transmission here. I believe this is a 33-34 as well. It's got that angled shift tower. And so, yeah, I think I gave like $100 for that whole pallet. So that transmission right there with the synchronized gears, if they're any good, was worth it. And then this was what I really went after. This is a 1937 Cadillac LaSalle, or just LaSalle, 1 year only transmission. The way you can tell these LaSalles by the way that they are is they got this cast-in, integrated, whatever you want to call it, shift tower right here. It is missing, I think Matt at Iron Trap calls this the hourglass. And then, yeah, obviously it's missing the shift lever. I looked through all the shift levers he had, couldn't find anything. I gave like $230 for this. If I have that shifter, or if I can find a shifter, if you've got a shifter, or that hourglass that he calls it, let me know, because I'm looking for those. But these are like the bomb.com super high performance manual transmissions. This is what you'd put behind your Hemis, your CAD V8s, your Olds Rockets, all that. These things will handle the power, but I need that hourglass and I need a shifter. So hopefully we can round that stuff up. So that was like, I've never seen one of those in person. So other than like in some cars. So that was a good piece to have. We'll put that on the shelf for a later build. And last but not least, my favorite hubcaps. I think there's 5 of them. Sure enough, 68 GM hubcaps. I gave $150 for these, which was a little on the high end, but we were going there already. And I love those hubcaps. They're my favorite, and they're in pretty good shape. Plus there's 5, so we got an extra. So yeah, overall, I think I spent about $4,000 on the auction with the 10% buyer's premium and Wisconsin sales tax. So kind of an expensive day. Got a hotel room and some gas in there as well. But there's some stuff that we can use. The big ticket items is that Cadillac LaSalle transmission, which hopefully I'll use in a traditional build someday. And this frame, I forgot one more thing. I think we gave $70 for this. This is a 1936 Ford Banjo rear end. There's your enclosed torque tube that I was talking about. These are your unsplit wishbones. This is how they attach on that other frame. They cut this off and put a tie rod in. You can see how they pinch and attach to the torque tube. The drive shaft runs inside of that. That's how you grease it. You can tell it's a 36 because it is wide 5, which was 36 to 39. There's no backing plates on it, but then it's got these bolt-on wishbones, which is 35 and 36 only. A 35 would have the small 5 on 5.5 bolt pattern, not the wide 5. So the big ticket items here is these things are like 250 to 350 bucks. And then also, I believe the torque tube or the drive shaft that's inside of here, a lot of guys will take those, slide them out, and they'll cut it in half, and they'll make the lakes pipes for like side pipes for your hot rod, for your headers. Those are acceptable headers if you've got an old Ford drive shaft and it's like coming out the side of the hood. Super cool stuff. I don't know if I'll ever do one of those, but I got a couple of these sitting around because I'm a hoarder of all cool stuff. Pretty cool auction. The guy had on a lot of really cool stuff. He had an eye for this kind of stuff, and he knew what to collect, you know, 33 4 Fords, 58 Chevys, all the good stuff. So thank you very much for watching. Check out other videos. We're going to probably do a Will It run on that. I'm undetermined what I'm going to do with that frame. I've got a bunch of parts to build a 32 to 34 Ford pickup. Missing a box, so if you got a box for one of those, I got the cab, hood, grill, basically. We can drop on there. It should all fit on there because it's the same from a car to a pickup. But my dad's also got a 2-door sedan body, and he does have a 3-window coupe body that we could put on there, but I don't know if this frame's nice enough for the 3-window coupe that I was thinking of. And I don't know if he's ready to let it go either, so we shall see. So I think for now we're just gonna put a pickup on it because we picked that truck up last fall at auction, one of our other second channel videos, and then I've got a couple of those other 32 to 34 Ford truck cabs that we could drop on there. So I think that'd just be easiest, and we could always take the body off, the pickup body off, and swap something different on there. I do have some little bit newer boxes that we could cut down and make fit, but I like this stuff to be correct. The big thing is going to be patching up that frame, the cross member where the steering was, and getting the steering figured out. And who knows? We got to get it running and see if it runs. I do have some nail head parts around, but remember how much power that nail head in that 65 Riviera that we had? Did a video on? Maybe it was a 3, maybe it was a 4, I don't know. But that thing did some nasty burnouts. I think those are the tracks right there, and maybe those tracks too. But a Buick nailhead with a 3-speed should be super awesome in that thing. And I've got some Muncie 4-speeds, which I think we could adapt in there as well, and that might be a little bit more fun. Or maybe we can, yeah, I don't know. Who knows what we'll do? Maybe just leave the 3-speed and leave it original. It seems like a really dinky 3-speed, but as long as we don't get enough power to the ground. Ooh, and we had that Posi out of the 1960 Impala. That's a 55 to 64 GM rear end. We got that Posi put in there so we could, that car's really good at burnouts too. So we got a lot of pieces to make that really cool. And that's kind of why I picked it up to, you know, get all these pieces in one pile and hopefully get something on the road. You know, I'm thinking like, you know, hot rod in a day project. Just kidding. It takes way more than a day, but maybe we can get Puddin' and old Slick to come up here and help me piece that together. Maybe we get half-ass customs to come down. Who knows? Maybe I'll just have to do it all myself because you're a lot of help. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. You guys help support my addiction of buying hot garbage like this. I wouldn't be able to do this stuff without you guys. I wouldn't have any background noise if I didn't have the old Duff scratching his collar. He's going to get a haircut this week. You're gonna get all bathed up, eh? But thank you very much for watching. Comment down below what you want to see us do with this chassis right here. You want to see us build a pickup? You want to see us build a coupe, a sedan? Should we put it all back to original Ford flathead stuff? After looking at this, the Ford flathead chassis went for, I think mine was $27.50. I think that one for like $31.50, something like that. I probably should have bought that one because that one came with a gas tank and the radiator. I think the inner fenders were there. It had the fender brackets, so there was a lot more pieces. I think that was just a little bit better frame as well. And there's nothing wrong with a flathead and a 3-speed and enclosed drive shaft, but oh well. I wish we could have bought them all, but definitely wasn't in the books. It was a fun trip. It's cool to see all that stuff. We got to get back to work. So thank you very much for watching. Check out our other videos. Remember, it doesn't matter how you get it done so long as you are having fun. Auctions, they're fun. Just dragging more garbage home. Fun. We got too much stuff. On to the next one, Duffers? Also, if you've got some parts, like a box for this 34 pickup or car project, or a shifter, or catalyst valve parts, or any other parts you think we can't live without, hit us up, mortskerepair@gmail.com, and check out the merch in the link down below. We're getting some merch available in-house soon. I don't know if we got it ready, but check that out on mortske.com. We got the super scrapers available there as well.